Good morning. Welcome to subramani.com. Today I'm going to talk to you about one couple who had come to me for a portfolio review. And I might do another video which will be about a couple who had also come to me for review. So we are talking of two couples in two separate vlogs. So this is the first couple where I felt that they will never get rich, and I'll tell you why I'm saying that. So here's a young couple. They came to me for a portfolio review, and the guy and the girl had come, and the girl was doing most of the talking, and she had one question written all over her face. This is the path we are taking. Will we get rich? So when I am asked such a question, I go back and ask them, what do you mean by rich? Because if you take the old Hindi movies, you had palatial houses with staircases, a big piano, and a bunch of servants, huge cars, and sea-facing house, and all that was rich. So is that rich, or today you want a smaller compact flat and smaller, more fuel efficient cars and what have you? So what is rich? So she didn't have too much of a definition of rich, but yes, she said I should be able to afford all the good things in life, and etc etc etc, and vacations and this and that, and a lot of purchases, shopping, big house, kids in good school and good colleges. And I was only smiling. I said, your idea of being rich could be very different from the real rich, right? So the real rich may be doing all this, but that family wealth may not be one generation, maybe 2-3 generations. Somebody in their family knew about compounding. So when they came to me, I do not know how much has changed since then, and this was 3-4 years back. They had must be about 30 to 33 years of age. They had 22 lakhs lying in their savings bank account just because nothing had been done. No, there was no reason why it was held. It was not that they were going to make a down payment or anything, but just they had 22 lakhs. Then their attitude was, we are from Mumbai and we will not leave Mumbai. Now that's a bad attitude to have when you're in your 30s, because if job opportunities are available better in a Baroda or a Hyderabad, where software people are perhaps as much in number, or Pune, you have to go. And if you think that you want to be in services, it's worth having a stint in Hong Kong, Dubai, Singapore, or maybe even in Europe, and have some international exposure to the services. This couple was stuck in Mumbai geographically, and I don't want to name the suburb. Perhaps they were stuck to the suburb also. They wouldn't go from, say, the east portion where they were living to even the west. You can't be so rigid if you want to really create wealth for yourself in the long run. The girl's father had lost some money long ago before the Harshad Mehta scam, and so the family was very scared of equities. So the girl's side entry to equities was zilch. Even the ATC benefit would go only into PPF. They would not touch equities. They would not touch equity mutual fund. The boy's parents were not so bad. Perhaps he came from a history of having somewhat invested in equities, but largely you could call them first generation equity players, because the previous generation had not done much in equities. They had some equities, but really not aggressively followed up and removed the junk. Weeds were not removed, so maybe weeds were watered and good flowers were removed. So weeding of the portfolio had not happened. So when you're 32, 33, you have missed about 7-8 years of compounding, and that's big because you only have about 25-30 years of compounding. Out of 35 years, if you have missed 8 years of compounding, that's bad. And for both these boys and the girl were more or less same age, the parents had not done any rich dad kind of activity. The rich dad activity is when your child is in the womb, you go and open a PPF account. Okay, that's an exaggeration. But by the time a kid is 3 or 4, the kid has a savings bank account, he has a PPF account, and she has a uh, equity broking account, a demat account. So shares have already been transferred. For every birthday, she gets shares from a grandfather, grandmother, or whoever, and that's how the portfolios get built, right? So none of those rich dad activities had been done. But quite little surprisingly, they had bought an expensive car, which was little unlike them. Because when I was talking to them, they didn't sound very rich in their spending, but the car was a stretch. They had a 22 lakh rupee car, which to me looked a little expensive going by what they were doing. But now they were making a bigger stretch. They were wanting to buy a house costing about 3 crores. Now, a house costing 3 crores is per se not bad, but they did not have more than 50 lakhs or 60 lakhs of their own money which they were willing to contribute, which meant a 2.5 crore loan, which to me was again a little unlike them. But yeah, that's what they were contemplating, and they may have bought it by now. It would use all their cash, and no Europe trip, nothing would happen. And but they did make some Europe trips, and they had made Indian trips, and they had lived in a nice 5-star property. So they had some of those habits already. I'm not I'm not judging, but all those were perhaps impediments also in their wealth creation process. So both would have happily signed up for a government job. At least she would have. Her parents were in government service, and they were thrilled that they had a government job. So they were thrilled when the daughter got a job in the PSU bank. He is not so hung up on a government job. He is also professionally qualified, as so is she. He was working in a private sector company which was dilly-dallying, not doing too well, not doing too badly, but yeah, he was getting his salary in time. But to my mind, both of them were terribly underpaid in the market. Both of them were smart and good enough to get better jobs. So my logic was, well, you will never get rich, because to get rich, first you have to change your attitude towards what is being rich and what is being wealthy, right? So first you have to change that attitude. Second, you have to see what you will do to get rich. You will not change your jobs, you will not change your geography, you will not do any of those things, which means you can't bring in greater cash flow. And that you will not invest aggressively, you will not invest in equity, or you will invest in equity because somebody pushed you, but that will be restricted to 1.5 lakhs a year because you think you have to get ATC. But the problem is they did not have a need to put 1,50,000 also, because ATC was taken care of by your PF alone, and once they had children, then their children's school fees, and perhaps now with the home loan that they are going to take, their ATC requirement would go away. So their ATC retirement went away, which means they would have no exposure to equity going further. So with all this, I said, look, it's very tough. First you have to change your attitude, blah blah blah. I gave them talk, and after that I have no clue what happened, because it's not something which I followed up. Thank you.